female entrepreneurs turned besties share on life, business, and the journey through the mess. Join their community with every new episode for connection, education, a few laughs, and the hype energy like a bathroom full of drunk girls at a bar. It's okay.
We're your friends now! Hey y'all, it's Biz!
Hey, it's Katie.
And it's Ashleigh, and welcome to the 21st episode of We're Your Friends Now!
Shut.
We are so hyped. For anybody that missed this little bit, the episode 21 was our big goal to get to when we first started, because we found out that only 1% of podcasts that start ever even make it to episode 21. And so we were like, well, shoot, we can do that. That'll just be like March.
And here we are.
So we are so freaking pumped, and we are so grateful that we've had so many people tell us that this has been impactful for them. And this was like initially a way for us to help encourage and hold each other accountable and also celebrate one another. So for the 21st episode, we thought, what better way to celebrate turning 21 than to celebrate our listeners, celebrate our podcast, look back at some of the things of like, what have we learned? What growth have we experienced in our businesses and personal lives? I mean, this is almost 6 months of time.
Yeah.
And a lot can happen. So that's what we're doing this week.
I'm so excited.
So much emotions at once. I'm like, yeah, 1%. And I'm like, oh, so much growth. Oh, yeah.
This
was all fun.
But this is cool because one of the things that we talk about is how you don't always pause to acknowledge like your accomplishments or achievements in the moment. And a lot of people do something and then turn around and realize that they hit like a statistic or whatever, especially in real estate, right? You go to something, find out you're number one, or you know kind of roughly where you need to land. We've had our eyes on this for a long time. And like, we get to acknowledge the moment that we join the 1% of pocket. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah. And it's funny because like we were like, well, we can hit the 1% of podcasts of just the ones that survive. But as we started going and we started seeing like, oh my God, there's people, we're going to list the countries out later. I don't know how it's even happened. It's just crazy. And so on top of just being like, we're just going to survive to this point, and like whether we have to force it or not, like if nobody listens, we're going to get there. And to see other things happen along the way has been really, really cool and impactful.
Yeah. So tonight, I think we're going to talk about growth and wins and excitement and all the things. But are we kicking off with our wins that were submitted to us?
I want to definitely hear all the wins that were submitted to us.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate some people.
Okay, so
for the bathroom.
For people who don't know, like one of our core tenets is that we have the hype energy of drunk girls in the bathroom, and we love celebrating other people. So I asked what people are proud of in the last 6 months. And what's cool to me is this is so much cool stuff, and it's all happened in less than a year. So I'm going to share some of the comments that people sent to us, and I would love for us to just recognize them and appreciate what they, oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional already. Okay, so my friend Logan, she's part of my cult. Hers is
which cult?
It's called Western Moon. Don't look us up.
Okay.
Hers is growing a human.
Aww.
Hell yeah, you did, girlfriend. That is a whole ass person inside of you. That's incredible.
Is this her first human?
Yes.
Oh. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yes. Ashleigh Harwood, friend of the pod, we love very much, started writing her book and landed a contract with a publisher, and she was hired as a contributing writer for Housing Wire.
Oh, damn.
Did that because she literally leads a group of introverts that are like awesome. and finding their niche. And so like way to like be a lighthouse so people know where to find you and keep reading and going. Like,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And for doing it, like, you probably wrote all that stuff like in your comfy clothes. Like, yeah, that sounds like heaven. Good for you. That's great. Yeah.
Talk about stepping into your greatness. That's a whole lot of
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Like,
Ashton Pritchard submitted photos and just said this. But I do know the story of it. So Ashton has a few investment properties. He's in Savannah, Georgia, has a couple investment properties that he's rehabbed. But he made the decision last year and committed to it to start buying boring businesses as a wealth building strategy. And he bought a laundromat and has completely redone it, like most of it by hand.
It's so cute too.
It's so cute. And the washers, like the machines were just installed the other day. And so he's getting to the finish line.
That's great, man. Way to go. Way to pull the lever.
Yeah.
You know what is
Like,
so cool is I've
do
seen
it.
yeah, but I've seen people using like rehabbing the laundry mat as like it can be a community hub when it is a well done laundromat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to watch. I keep calling it my favorite saga of the moment. So like I'm really excited to keep watching that. Ronnie McLaughlin, I adore her. She purchased her third and fourth door, and she is officially her own bank.
Ooh. Yeah, mama.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hot
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, I
that's
was
great.
fortunate enough to meet Ronnie last year, and she was really focusing on building her wealth strategically. And she actually has a couple entrepreneurial girlfriends. It reminds me of us. They travel to conferences around the country
Oh,
together.
that's
And it's like,
cute.
oh, I love this.
We make the
and-
best roommates.
Yeah, yeah. And so she decided to buckle down and really focus on it. And she's officially her own bank, which is so cool. I'm gonna read. We already celebrated this, but I'm gonna read this one. Another cult member, Ashleigh, said, "My lesbian carrying our baby." So it's Logan's wife.
That is so funny and sweet. I love the what are you proud of? And like, I'm proud of somebody else. That's very cute.
She their officiant at their wedding accidentally referred to them as lesbians. And so that's
And
what
so
they
that's where it comes
affectionately
from?
call each other.
Sounds like
Um,
the you.
Brittany Kern, who is one of my favorite people on earth, and consistent, dedicated listener. So we all love her. She said, "Going out of my comfort zone and applying for 2 new positions at work."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Way to
Damn.
go.
Yep.
Way to
A
go.
lot of guts and balls there, and a lot of really
will
just
not
going
get
for it.
If you
Go
don't
get what's
ask.
yours, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Closed
Yeah.
mouths don't get fed.
That's what's up. Mm.
Okay, Rob Foglia. His book, Real Estate Reset, out next month.
Wow. Great job, Rob. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
His
Writing
is-
a book is crazy to me.
same.
Yeah. Like how
Same.
long? I wonder how long it takes you. Man, what an accomplishment! Like that's
Yeah.
there forever, forever.
And I love that they're both like very unique takes on real estate. Like these,
Yeah.
both of these, they're both different things, and they both are like breaking the norms of real estate, which is like so needed right now.
Agreed. I'm really, really excited for Rob's book.
I'm proud of you, Rob.
High five.
Ileana Kim made her first payment towards helping provide clean water for 600 people.
Oh,
And
that's
she's
awesome.
also super proud of her kids and their growth in the past 6 months. She said, "I think I'm doing a decent job at putting them first and still running a business I can be proud of." Excuse me.
Teach
while I
us, girlfriend.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like the fact that you like feel that way, one, two, and like I appreciate you like saying something because I mean we all struggle with that balance
Yeah.
a lot. Like, way to go, man. That's so true. Like there's no
Yeah.
better compliment than when people compliment your kids. You
Yeah.
know, like, it's so good. Oh,
Yeah. And I love give yourself permission to compliment your own abilities because you got
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you did. That's awesome.
Gabby, she started writing her book and she
What?
started a real estate career last fall.
What? Wow.
That's crazy.
I get it.
Look at all these
Oh,
writers.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Okay, we have a couple that were emailed to us. So Kristen Carter, who was on here a second ago, hers was I'm gonna cry again. Winning the cultural award for KWYP. So out of all like 1,500 members that we have, she was voted our cultural icon. I personally voted for her, so there is nobody better to receive that. I'm so pumped about that and so proud of her.
So freaking proud of somebody that, like, what a great example of somebody who just shows up over and over again, and in how many places. Like, she helps out in the AI Facebook group. She's always in chats, jumping in, giving people feedback, advice. Like, if you're like, I need help with AI, she will call you and walk you through it. She's always active, participating in the Facebook group that I help run. And like, I don't know how she does it, man. And she's a kick-ass mom.
Actually, we were the privilege of being in the room when she accepted that award, and that was like incredible. Like and what was like so cool about that moment too is that like you could feel how like every single person was like having their own mini moment, like amplifying. Like it was like personal. It was like a different energy in the room, and so sincere. And so like it was really beautiful just to be a part of, like, for it. So like thanks for sharing your moment. Like, let me be in the space with that. Is so well deserved. So well deserved.
And then we'll close out our celebrating other people's wins with Megan and Jay Peters. As of
done.
As of today, they are officially net worth millionaires.
Congratulations! Oh my God. So like what part of the checkpoint do you think you're at right now? Like that's amazing. Because like that's incredible. Congratulations. Wow.
That's a daunting goal to hit. And the fact that, like, obviously, so Jay is in financial planning.
Yeah.
And so he's, you know, obviously a great person to be helping make this plan. But that is still really scary to set for yourself, and then to be so meticulous about it to the point where you're like, I'm ready to celebrate this, as in I'm hitting it today. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so I'll share also. Oh, she's watching. Yay!
Where's Congratulations! I can't even see you, but I know you're there.
So we when she submitted it, they knew the dollar amount away that they were from hitting it. And then I happened to be texting Jay today, and they both texted me and said, never mind, we hit it today. And it was like, and especially knowing what the past couple years have looked like for so many people and the struggles, both financially, personally, I mean, for everybody across the board, like coming out of COVID and walking through what we've walked through, and especially like our industry changing so much, and they have kids, and they're like just incredible people. And so to fight through those battles and continue to refocus and recenter and act as a team and work on your goals and make it a priority. And so cool. I instantly just like started crying when I found out they hit it today. Like that is so awesome. And thank y'all for walking the walk for others to follow. So proud of you, and just so encouraged by you and your friendship and your money, honey.
Get you something fancy on sale because we coupon. That's what we
get.
do.
Get you some shoes that you'll never wear because they're uncomfy.
No, buy the shoes.
Don't do that. Don't buy the shoes.
Don't buy the shoes, Megan.
Don't do it.
You know how like people celebrate when they hit like 1 million followers, and then immediately like they lose a follower? You're like, I'm at 1 million net worth. Let's buy the red bottoms. And you're like, I'm not at 1 million anymore.
It's done. Oh my God, that's great.
Whew, okay, that was really good for the soul.
That was.
Thank you all for sharing all of
Thank you
those
guys.
things.
That I honestly don't think we talk about how uncomfortable it can be to be like, I want to congratulate myself about this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people understand the impact it has to not only have commented and said, like, I did this thing and I'm proud of it, but to say out loud, congratulations, or I'm proud of you, like in the mirror to yourself.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
I definitely like had moments. You remember we were talking about Spencer's Facebook post that was like, if you had to write a thank you letter to yourself, what it would say, and like that whole like weight thing. I had real moments in Belize that I was like super overcome with gratitude at like how hard I had worked to be able to like be experiencing what I was experiencing, and it was like a life-changing experience. Just gotta say. So like what you're talking about, Ashleigh, it is so freaking important to not let go of that. And you don't realize you're letting go of it because you just stopped doing it. So it's really important and intentional.
And for anybody watching that's like, dang, like that's really cool. I don't have like, I haven't written a book. I didn't like take that risk to apply for the new job. Like, you know, you don't feel like your wins are big enough to celebrate. Like Biz is saying, sometimes you literally need to celebrate the hard work, even if the results haven't shown up for you yet, because that does not negate your efforts in any way.
Yep. And sometimes it's really easy, and the hard work and consistent in the bit is like what makes it feel justified. Like it's a whole roller coaster. Fuck yeah, God. Oh, I love you guys. We've done this.
And that's why we have our podcast with our friends, so that we can get on and be like,
you know, it's so funny, like how many times like not even a week goes by and like I listen back and I'm like, go, like I was just in that spot and I feel so crappy right now. And like realize like how much you can move, and like it again, like it's so important that we like consistently show up. And that's like that's the biggest thing, really. And I wanted that whenever we pulled it together. Like I wanted us, you know, y'all to continue to hold me accountable. Because, you know, you really do just by being there. Right?
Well, you know, that's something that I thought about today when I was thinking about how excited I was about this. I've been celebrating all day, just FYI. Like, I'm very like,
went to a trampoline park and was
yeah, I was doing toe touches and all the things. Definitely was not. So we like 21 episodes. That's great. It's actually a couple more because we have bonus episodes, but 21 episodes. That's awesome. 1% is so cool. And that there wasn't much to that other than like, that would be awesome. And we can hit that. Like, let's do that. But today it kind of dawned on me that in the past 6 months, we have sat down 21 times and had intentional, deep, soul-serving conversations. And I'll be honest, life is so crazy for everybody that I don't know that there are other people besides like my husband. I mean, there's group chats and stuff, but I don't know that had we not committed to this, I would have like 21 conversations that were so deep and vulnerable, and we're in the amount of growth that we've been able to fast track because we're prioritizing the conversations about what we're going through is just incredible.
And we don't even consider it fast tracking it. And I think, and I agree with you. Sorry, Ashleigh.
That's okay. I was going to say, we don't even know yet what the results will be from the 21 conversations, because 6 months is just not, I mean, you know, sometimes you look at something and you think, oh, I did that by myself, or I came up with, you know, one of my ideas came to me by myself, but you never really know like what little changes in your path set you down to have those accomplishments or those ideas or, you know, whatever it is. And so sometimes it's these conversations, and that's why it's so important to have community, have friends. It's why we're so passionate about it. Like, it's huge. I know y'all have helped me so much on coming on days where like you can see us kind of slumped and we're kind of like not all the way there, and you're like, oh man, my energy, what are we talking about today? And then like you literally hear it through the episode where it's like by the end it's like totally different.
Dopamine, so good.
So I love it. So
tears, there's something to cleanse my soul.
Plenty. Here, let me take a sip of water so I can restock my tears.
Hydrate.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And so I appreciate everybody that's taken the time to listen truly, because like we've said, this has been a journey of the three of us just trying to sit down and have good conversations together. And the fact that we can share it with others and hopefully impact others is just icing on the cake. And with that, looking back at 6 months, I never thought I'd be a podcaster. Like, that was 100% not on my plan, my chart. I enjoy listening to a few podcasts, but like if I ever went to podcasts and like was trying to find one, I was always felt like, boy, there's so many. And so why would I start a podcast? So if you were to look back at 6 months, first of all, Biz, did you ever think you would be a podcast host?
I don't consider myself a podcast host.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You literally host one of the top 1% podcasts.
Yeah, I can't think about it too much or I psych myself out. It's real fun, like listening to me tell somebody about it. I'm like, oh yeah, me and my friends, like we just record these awesome conversations and like people listen and laugh. Like, I don't know, you should listen. They're pretty cool.
In 2024 terms, that's called I host a podcast.
I was gonna say, Biz, at Family Reunion, you always said we have a podcast. You never said
we have a podcast.
We have a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a mental switch thing, like for me. But no, I mean, I never thought I would do this though. I never did. And it still blows my mind that shout out my kid's private school admissions counselor who literally listens to this and like send me a business referral through it. Like that like was absolutely wild to me. Just that, you know, there is no such thing but being transparent once you start putting it out there. Like it's a full-blown commitment. So like, no, I never thought that I would like be so vulnerable in a like put yourself in a position where you can't decide what side of yourself you want to be seen. Right. Like, and I think about that, like every time I tell somebody about this podcast, it's like, well, you're about to get to know like fucking all of me, like enter at your own risk. So like, yeah, I never thought that I would put myself out there like that. But I'm glad that I did. And I'm also in a way glad it doesn't make me feel any more different than it does. Which is, I think is honestly part of the growth piece of it.
Yeah.
It was like, and that's kind of funny, like we were talking about like a fast track, Katie, because I feel like the podcast and our accountability and like the topics that we've had have been like a very intense boot camp into like, like these are our collective thoughts. We are all like have been through some type of this that earns the right to talk about this. And oh yeah, I'm currently, you know, waddling through this sack of shit. Like, you know, well, mine's on fire, but similar, you know, and it's just, yeah, it's just been beautiful. And yeah, so all the way around, but that's I think is a big, all of it together, like the growth and no, I didn't think so. But
yeah, I know.
Ashleigh,
so Katie, you were like co-hosting a podcast right before we started.
No, it was like
co-hosting after.
Like very similar time. I think I started the other one like 2 weeks after we started. But
Okay.
Ashleigh, I so distinctly remember you like sarcastically being like, "Can I add podcast host in my IG profile now?"
I do. You can. Like, but it was one episode.
Yeah,
one episode out. Here's the Spotify link, bitch.
Talk about, but that was some serious imposter syndrome. I was like, who the isn't a podcast host these days? Because that's how it feels sometimes. But like Biz said, like now I don't feel it as much. I don't feel like the imposter syndrome of like, I have to prove I'm a podcast host and like, here are my downloads and here are my listens. Like, I'm just on a really cool podcast and I love doing it. And it's honestly not super easy to always fit it in.
Yeah.
Especially when, I mean, you're talking about, we don't do this, like it's not monetized and nobody's paying us to do this. We're taking time away from businesses and families and coordinating 3 time zones. And do you guys remember can you go back in time to our very first episode?
Yes.
4
And
hours
what that was like.
and then another hour to download it.
Literally
You know-
so many technical bugs.
You know what I remember so much about that is the intense editing process that we tried to get like every extra laugh or every moment of silence or everything was just edited out and like spliced together. And now I'm just
Beautifully, by
like,
the way, beautifully.
yeah,
It was
Ashleigh,
a work of art.
Ashleigh was a master of it. But like now, usually I'm like, unless there's something that we are like, oh my gosh, I probably shouldn't have said that, or like somebody wouldn't, out of respect for somebody else, like they wouldn't want that to be out there. Now we're pretty much like, well, unless like we have a bathroom break or something and it's just dead time.
Cats knocking over computers and
But yeah, like our first episode, I think it was funny because, and this is so interesting, is you're saying like how weird you felt about it at first, and I kind of did too. Like I almost felt this weird, like, yeah, I have a podcast, because I thought that along with it, the immediate thought that people would have is like, everybody has a podcast, like that's so dumb. You think you're an influencer or something, and that wasn't it at all. And I feel like once we opened up and showed what we were doing, it didn't matter to me because these are so healing for me. And so it didn't matter to me what other people said. But I remember that episode was so funny because we were having really raw, real, vulnerable conversations that were authentic. And I think we all also were hyper aware that we were recording something and kind of weirded out about the fact of like, what are people going to think when we talk about this? And that episode was all over the place.
so all over the place.
Well, I think it also was like our idea for like all that we want to accomplish with this is so big. And it's like I almost feel like it needed to be big. You know, but yeah, you're right, man. We were hyper aware of it. I was so, and like, I don't know, there's already 2 things I've said in here that I'm like, oh, well, I wouldn't have done that. I've been conscious about it. Like, you know, and I'm sitting here like people are actually watching us on video so they can see me eating the entire time that we're doing this. You know, so like there's still moments like that, but like that's what I'm saying. Like part of the growth of it is that I think I just really don't care anymore.
You get more
because like there's been enough like positive feedback of people being like, wow, like you're so much more, even more of a person than like I want to know with it. So like I'm just in the season of leaning in, like all the way, you know, and because y'all told me I have to give something 6 months. So like
right.
And what do you think?
Yeah. And you're at 6 months. What do you think? Are you going to give it
of our podcast? Sorry. Yeah. No, great. Heck yeah. Let's keep going.
No, I quit. Click.
Seems fun. Okay.
No. You know what I remember the most about our first episode?
Ooh, what?
Is finishing recording, and while we're waiting for this hour-long download, I don't know what we did wrong, but it's just taking forever. And we're so freaked out we're gonna lose this recording. So like nobody can move.
3.5 hours to get through.
And I remember all 3 of us being like dissecting and pulling apart the way we sounded, what we were doing on camera, what we said, when we said if we reacted to one another enough, if we were stepping over one another. And like obviously it's not great for us to all talk at the same time, but also that's just kind of like the flow of natural conversation.
Yeah.
And so that's what I remember most is like just being like, oh my gosh, like this doesn't sound professional or put to like polished or whatever. And we were all like, okay, we'll just get 1% better by next week. And then like at some point we just stopped hyper focusing on it.
Yeah.
We get on, we record an episode, we close it, we edit out like a little bit at the beginning and end where like sometimes we're chit-chatting like you guys saw today.
Progress.
We add in our intro and we're done.
Yeah. It's a new thing for my life too. Thanks, Sarah Reynolds. Progress over perfection.
Progress over perfection.
So I think that's one of, and Ashleigh, I don't know if you were going to bring this up, so feel free to stop me if I'm stepping on toes. That is what?
No, I'm just trying to get my camera to focus. I'm sorry.
Oh. That was
My
like
bad.
talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand.
Like I think that for me, because I have struggled with perfectionism my entire life, right? Like I call myself a recovering perfectionist. That's no secret. And I know that we've shared this before, but we had talked about the podcast. We had planned a couple things. And again, I don't know what happens to me when I'm in airports, but I'm just all of a sudden I'm just like, do it. Like, just do it. Like whatever. And so I remember like I texted y'all and I was like, I have an hour until I get on my next flight. I'm going to like finish these graphics and announce the podcast, and we're just going to have to pick a date for it to drop. And like, we're just going to do it. We're going to do it. And as somebody who plans so intensely for most things in my life and loves a business plan and loves a structure, and all of those things are good and should be applied to most things. For us, I think that we realized like there was a need for the conversations that we were having, even if that was just between us. And so we just said to go and do the thing and figure it out along the way and take a risk. And if we the only way we would fail is if it drove us to like not be friends anymore. But like and we knew that that wasn't going to happen. And so it was like for me, like the play out of this has been such a good, like, man, have I made mistakes along the way as we've worked on this. But it's been such a great reminder to me of like the beauty in just doing the thing that you want to do. And like, because again, in our industry and being entrepreneurs, so much of our lives go like focus on make your plan. Like I could have a GPS 411, a Trello board, and a vision board for literally everything that I do in my life. And sometimes it's okay to exhale and just do the thing that you want to do and just do it. And you have permission to just have fun or enjoy it or prioritize. Like this is a form of self-care for me, and like just do it. And if it gets to the point where it needs a business plan, amazing, great. Like we'll do that. But it just proves every single week that sometimes it's okay for me to back up and separate from this need for perfection, which also like obviously having a kid has distanced a lot of that because
hashtag mom life.
Yeah. And just like do the thing you want to do and it'll work out however it works out.
Yeah. It's super powerful. Yeah. I remember sitting there and your chat pops up and you're like, we're announcing it. And it wasn't like, you guys want to? You're like, we're announcing it.
Let's
Biz
go.
and I were like, okay.
Yeah.
We had talked about it. We were trying to decide when. None of us would make a decision. And then I was also like, number one, we just need to decide a date. Number two, I'm a words of affirmation person. If we post this and then I get on a flight, I'm going to like land to all of these comments on a Facebook post. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have a podcast now? It's like, it's going to be so fun.
And Katie gets a treat.
Yeah, and Katie gets a treat.
Yeah. I feel like, I know I talked about it in a previous episode, like in a recap with this, but I think it's worth noting again on here because it was so impactful. But like how much my social anxiety has improved or been broken by this. And like we were talking about, like with editing those episodes, like, I still love the one part where I started spiraling so bad I completely lost my train of thought, and then I completely like took y'all down with me. In the process, and then like you love me through it, and we the show must go on kind of moment happened, and I just kind of pushed on, but I really like struggled with authenticity beyond that. But like going back through, and then like that night, like all night I stayed up and I was like, oh, what are you thinking? Like this was so dumb, like nobody's gonna listen to this, like you're not whatever, like it started all of these things. But then having it on the podcast to go back, the recording to go back and watch, was just so obvious at how much it was just lies. Like it was literally lies that I was telling myself. So like, it's like, when do y'all listen to the episodes when they get dropped? Because like transparency, I don't edit. Biz does not edit. I almost think I probably take out too much if I tried to.
You would. Remember,
yeah.
you used to send us lists of what to take
Oh,
out.
yeah, she would
Yeah.
timestamp stuff. That's right.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, all right, whatever, fuck it. It's just in there. And so like for me, like a lot of times I don't even listen, like I don't hear the unedited, like the episode, the full episode. And so it's like I almost like to let a little bit of time go by and then go back and re-listen to the conversation. But do y'all listen to them back like at a certain time?
Different. I don't know if Katie's the same way. If I edit it, I will take a while before I will listen to it again once it drops.
Yeah.
But if I didn't do the editing, I want to hear it like the day it comes out. Like as soon as I can. So there's a little difference there because the editing, I try not to take out too much, but I do listen to the whole thing and often to catch exactly where I want to clip it and stitch stuff together. You're listening to the same thing like 5 times.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like, I've heard it. I need some time. So,
but I will say though, it is super fun editing it because we get to watch it back and like we have the video and stuff. And it's just a good, because we're so in the moment that like sometimes we don't remember, what's said. And then there are times like if I'm ever recommending an episode to somebody or telling them something, I'll probably go back and listen to the episode. But like, and this is the worst thing to say is like having a podcast. I don't really listen to podcasts. I used to, and I love them very much, but like my entire life is so loud that by the time I had time to listen to a podcast, I probably would like actually explode if I heard another sound. Case in point, the other night I told Brett I wanted a silent night. Like I was like, I just need some quiet for a little bit. And so we were like just sitting there doing stuff on our phone or whatever. And I looked at him and I was like, could you eat any louder? Like I like if you chew again, I will blow up. But yeah, so to answer your question, I listen back when I edit, and then sometimes I'll listen like a week after it drops if I've edited it, because that's just like a lot to do it back to back, unless it's some of them are really funny. And so I'll listen again, but yeah, I take a while.
It's interesting because sometimes like Katie said, sometimes you're in the moment. So not only do you not always fully impact with what, like sometimes Katie and Biz are kind of talking, and it's not that I'm like zoned out, but sometimes you are kind of hyper aware. You're like, don't sit there and play with your hair, Ashleigh. Like, sometimes I see myself in the video like, so you don't always get the full impact of what other people are saying, but sometimes you say things and you're like, dang, like I said that was pretty smart.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Isn't it so empowering? It's like that's why I think everybody needs to do a podcast. Literally that feeling right there. I wish I had a better light on than I do right now. I'm gonna.
No, I like it. It's like mood light. No, it's cool.
Yeah,
it looks like a party over there. Yeah. So, well, I'll pause. Ashleigh, what else did you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about all the countries that we're in.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. Okay. I have some other thoughts about our growth, but I'll wait.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm listening. I'm just trying to get better light.
Okay, so this is going to be a celebration for us. Y'all shared wins. We will share wins. This is one of our wins, but it's also a request. So I hopped on. I think we've mentioned this before. I am very, very intense about tracking our metrics.
Surprise!
I like, oh my gosh, an ops girl who likes data. It's so weird. So I love, and like one of my favorite things is that the host site that we use shows a map of all of the countries. And I mean, it lists them. There's no way that I could point out most of these countries on a map, but it's so fun to like go on and see when there's a new little like pin drop on there. But it also was very shocking. Like I remember fairly recently, I was so shocked when I got on and I was like, oh my gosh, we're in 7 countries. Like, this is wild. How are we in 7 countries? This is so like, what? Okay, y'all, we are in 20 countries. We are in 20 countries, and we are on every continent except for Antarctica.
Still,
That's fine.
okay, man, I am trying real hard.
We're going on a cruise to Antarctica. Please
And
scream.
shout out to all of the people that were like, "Oh, I just got back." Like, thanks for
Go back.
nothing, Phil.
Go back.
Like, just like that's like so not cool. Like, don't tell me like that you just I'd
Okay,
rather not
so
know. Anyway, sorry.
That's fine.
If you know anyone in Antarctica, it would make Katie's life. Like, please, SOS, let us know.
It really would. But I am going to list out the countries where we are currently.
Okay, here for it.
Because it's so cool.
Are you gonna try to say them in never mind. That would
Absolutely
like
fuck
the
not.
pageant. Do you remember the pageant?
Oh
when
my
that
gosh.
was like
USA! Canada!
Rolls.
Oh, wait, we just said hi to us.
I don't know. I can't see names for some reason.
Brittany,
Oh,
it's
Brittany.
Brittany, we talked about you earlier. Okay, so USA, Canada, Mexico, Belgium, Russia, UK, Greece, India, Germany, Taiwan, Malaysia, Australia, Ghana, Malta, the Netherlands, Slovakia, Jamaica, Belize, El Salvador, and Bolivia. And here is my request to y'all. I really want to be at 21 countries by the time we launch our 21st episode, which will be next Tuesday. And if you know somebody in a country other than that, please, for the love of everything, get them to at least listen to our podcast for like 5 minutes. Thank you.
I so am here for that because France was not on that list, and I think I can make that happen.
Oh, yeah, duh. Oh, yeah.
And just in case, so I can just say it again. That was real fun.
It's so fun to say it.
So yeah, and that was like such a huge, I think when we talk about, and I don't want to relate this just to the podcast because I want to appreciate that like people will listen to this episode and they aren't like, I don't want it to be all about like our thing that we've done, but like this was intended to be conversations that we have that basically like, let's have them consistently. And let's like be intentional about setting time aside. And also we know that these conversations are needed among women, among mothers, like all of the, like whatever. I don't want to like exclude anybody.
Yeah,
but that was the intention. And we kind of were like, I love it to be a community. And I would be so honored if things that we share resonated with people. And like, I never even imagined ever that in 6 months we would be in 20 like 20 countries. That is so wild to me. And I like log in and I look and I'm like, what are y'all doing over there?
Seriously try to visualize. Like, I'm like, okay, I know like what Greece looks like, and I'm gonna picture the streets of Greece, and I'm gonna picture somebody living in Greece and hearing my voice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so freaking crazy.
And I mean, they might just listen to make fun of our accents, and that's fine.
I'll take it.
They also might listen to learn American cuss words. Also fine.
I'm full of them.
Same. My point in that is that like your little idea, like I'm a big believer in building things to scale and dreaming big and all of the things, but like don't underestimate the power of your words, because our words have gotten us to 20 countries and our words have put us in the top 1%. And to be fair, it's not actually our words, it's the words of the people who have shaped us. Right. And so, but like, don't underestimate the power of your words, the power of your purpose, and the validity of your life and the things that you go through.
Yeah. The big realization, right, that I'm chewing through right now is that I am the only one that is in the same exact collection of rooms that I've been in. Yeah. And that makes like my unique learned knowledge and perception there. And so like to what you said, Katie, you're right. Like we're culminations of that, but it's like everybody's got a different red beans and rice recipe, and ain't nobody's as good as they mamas. And it starts or like as their own. But I think that really like is true, because it starts with your own confidence in yourself, and that's what's great. Friends, that they like see that and help you build that from within instead of just the hype. And that's what I think is so cool. Like Ashleigh, you're talking about, like sometimes you can hear it in our voices. By the end of the call, it's like everything is great, for all of us. But it's yeah. And so I think that that's the magic in it. And I mean, as incredible as we are, I know that it's not, just only possible with the three of us.
What does PBS always say? PBS is made possible by viewers like you.
Yeah, by viewers like you. But there's tons of people out there like that you can do it with. Excuse me, too. So
yeah. And I mean, if you're struggling to find your people, sometimes it's like you have to start showing up to things by yourself. If you're like, I want a podcast, but I don't have someone to host it with me, start the podcast by yourself and it will help you find your people. If you want to have a game board night every week and you can't find people to join you, show up to a brewery with a Facebook event and make your own community. Like what we said earlier, closed mouths don't get fed. You have to show up and make the space you want happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
it's a lot easier with buddies. So good buddy.
It is a lot easier. And sometimes you might be surprised if you put the ask out there.
I think that's the thing. State what you want. Tell people what you want. Nobody's going to guess. Sorry. Everybody is super hyper focused on themselves. Nobody's going to guess what you want.
Yeah.
Because positive or negative, people think about you a whole lot less than you think they do.
Yeah. Harsh reality.
Except for me, I'm probably thinking about you like literally constantly. And
I'm probably crying for you. Happy tears.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. I like I mentioned, not having been like a person that, and being in social media, you would kind of think that those tend to go hand in hand, having a podcast. And it was definitely just one of those mental blocks for me. So when Biz really corralled this whole thing. And so when she first sent it, you're like, am I really going to be a podcaster? I guess so. Because at least I'm doing it with my friends. But had she not done the ask, she couldn't have gotten the yes, and none of us would have the extra connection and community we do have. Because I think about like when I'm feeling upset and I go to like a group chat to be like, oh, this thing just happened and I'm venting about it and I'm getting some comfort from my friends through text. Sometimes, I mean, it helps, but I don't necessarily leave feeling like productive yet, but when something has happened and we come here and we have like a real honest like conversation, I do feel like I'm ready to walk out of the room and like take action. Like Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Or you have to say it faster so you actually just do it in the right amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about that today because, okay, well, let's get vulnerable again. Let's just share something that has nothing to do with celebrating our wins. I have an insane problem with sugary cereal. My dad was a single dad and he really, really, really wanted us to eat healthy. And so he didn't buy a lot of it. And when he did, he was very strict about cereal, like one box open at a time. And like it had to last the week. And so he didn't get to eat it very often at all. Now that I'm an adult, I physically cannot stop myself from eating it. It is so crazy.
What's your favorite?
Probably Fruity Pebbles.
Oh, so solid.
Ooh, Fruity Pebble Rice Krispie treats. Ooh.
I have not. I've tried one like variation of a Rice Krispie treat and didn't love it. I do also have a problem with Rice Krispie treats. So it's hard because I'm like, I'm a mom and I don't want to like continue the cycle for my kids and be like, you can't have cereal in the house because I can't control myself. And so we always have cereal in the house. And I'm fairly good about not like, I'll have some because it's like, I shouldn't just deny myself that. But when they leave for their dad's house, there's literally an unopened box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch sitting in there. And I was like, at lunch, I was like, instead of having protein and like what I'm supposed to have, I'm going to have, and I put it in like a little, like a coffee cup. So it was like a smaller serving. And then, you know what it is, like the milk is left over, pour a little more in. And then it's like, it just keeps going and going. And then I shake the box. I'm like, oh my God, Ashleigh, you're almost eaten a whole box. Where was Mel Robbins? Where was your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 stuff? It didn't even like enter my brain. And that I was like, dang, like that's something I need to figure out is when you're in those like spirals of things, like when you're stuck in those and it's like your brain isn't even functioning.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, you know, like the bold bracelet. Remember when we used to be able to slap the
snap
bold
it?
bracelet? I'm like, I need like something like that to just like get me to like associate, like you need to think of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You know, I think it's harder too now. Like there are so many benefits and I love being able to work from anywhere and work from home and do all the things. And also I think about like, and this is a bold reference again, but we talk about time blocking in bold and you have to write out your schedule and your time block and what you want to do and what you get done or whatever. And like on our team, we took it a step further and we wrote out our time blocks for like what we should be doing during the day. And then we swapped them with people. And so like I had my coworker's time block who I sat nearby, and it's a little distracting, but like you keep track of what they do during the day and then you talk at the end of the day. And you know, she had lead gen for 3 hours and she would like send a text message, make a phone call, do all this follow-up stuff, go out to her car to get a file that she forgot, respond to 3 emails, like do this, do that. And so like in her 3-hour block, she called maybe 2 people, but she was like, yeah, I lead gen for 3 hours. And I was like, but you didn't. Like you didn't. You called 2 follow-ups and you know, and it was just very eye-opening. And also it was so good because once we did that and like we shared calendars with people that were nearby. And so it was a quick call out of like, hey, you should do that later. Like, you know, so point being, things like that where like your brain doesn't even register like, hey, I should make a better decision right now. It's sometimes it would be so helpful to have a person around to be like, hey, are you sure? I mean, I would probably smack them, but like it would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's crazy is like Shane works from home. My husband works from home. So normally he's around to like how like, and he doesn't have to say anything. It's just his presence, like, you know, ADHD, like body doubling stuff where somebody just being there makes you do things. And so like he comes down and he makes his protein shake and his, you know, half a turkey sandwich. And like, he's freakishly good and religious. Like it doesn't even occur to him.
Turkey sandwich.
He will eat half a sandwich. Like,
What's he do
I don't
with the
know.
other half?
Terrifying how easily it is, how easy it comes to him. But seeing somebody else do that, you're like, yep, I should do it too. And like, you know.
Or you're like embarrassed to do it in front of them. You're just, it's again, you're hyper aware of it because somebody else is there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
Man.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that though.
Yeah, I don't know. I came out of left field.
Do you want me to check in with you tomorrow on what you're eating?
Well, don't worry. I ate all the cereal almost. Don't have to worry about it anymore. But you know what the one thing is that I have really learned is that before I really beat myself up for it and be like, well, now you can't eat dinner or like whatever. And now I'm not like that. I'm like, no, you still should give yourself your nutritious dinner. It happens. It's fine. And so that's a ton of growth for me. I've struggled. I've never had like what I would say is a diagnosable disorder or anything, but I think like a lot of women just struggling with that. It is a lifelong journey with food. And the problem is that as you get older and your metabolism slows down, it's so hard to heal it when you're like watching your body struggle to even do what it used to do. That's hard.
Well, and I'm proud of you for that because that's a lot of permission that you give yourself to like not punish yourself, you know? Yeah. And that's a really hard thing to do. And I think that we always consider, and this might go hand in hand with parenting, that like there should be a consequence for my negative action. Negative, which it doesn't even have to be like you're human. It's okay. It's okay to eat a bunch of cereal someday. Like that, you know, and the permission that you give yourself to like continue on with healthy habits, and what happened, and okay, I'm a human and I'll grow. Additionally, you are not alone in that. How many times in the past 2 weeks have I texted you, I should not be left unsupervised? and then tell you the things that I don't even think about doing, but I do.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. I mean, food is a comfort for me, and like if food
Same.
is a love language for me, like if I've cooked for you, I'm showing you I care.
Excuse me, ma'am.
So
I will book a flight to Denver immediately.
oh yeah, if you guys can come, I'll make my special lasagna that I posted. That's probably the most direct messages I've ever gotten was when I posted the lasagna.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh, because it looked so good.
It was the best lasagna I've ever had. So
How were your red beans?
They
Did
were
they come
really
out okay?
good.
Yeah.
I undercooked the rice a little, but I got impatient, so
It happens.
it was fine. But yeah, it's just so like I smell. I was like, we always listen to music when we cook, and I told my husband, I was like, you gotta put on some jazz. Like we gotta feel like we're in the room.
Yeah.
He's never been. He wants to go.
Come.
Just
But I
put on
think-
the
I think I might
Princess
go
and the Frog
without him.
soundtrack.
I think I might go without him to visit you, Biz, just once, just because he's difficult to corner into doing things. He's always
So is my husband. It'll be great.
Well, he's
like,
busy.
we'll just leave them, and you and they'll entertain each other. They'll be social, not social. It'll be great.
Shane is busy eating half turkey sandwiches.
yeah, he's busy being and he's so funny. He's like he's on he's also doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger program, but obviously different goals. And so he's like, I'm almost to my heaviest I've ever been. And like, fuck you.
We are not the same. I mean, we are because of that statement, but like we are not the same people. Can we though like divert a little bit because we're talking about like permission and stuff, and I want to relate this to something I was thinking earlier. I had a conversation with one of my friends. We were talking about motherhood in general. And I was telling her how one of my Facebook friends posted something where she said how terrible it is when women post like the negatives about parenting.
Well,
And like, I mean, don't like go online and say you hate your kid or whatever, right? But she said being a mother is the most treasured crown that I wear upon my head. Okay, great. Love that journey for you.
yeah.
And we were talking about how toxic that mentality is of like not highlighting the negatives and talking about how, you know, there's a lot of things like we can talk about, you know, if there's anything with women's rights or women wanting equal recognitions and things, or we talk about like being a woman in the workplace and in the entrepreneurial space or being a mother and all of these things that we say, like we want support on, or we want people to see our side on it, or men should be supporting this cause, or men should be better partners in X, Y, and Z, or whatever the conversation is that comes out of it. If we do not talk about the real struggles and the real hardships, that progress will never, ever happen, because how can somebody possibly help you with something that they have no idea is going on? Right. So like, for the record, I love my child more than I love life itself. He is the best thing to ever happen to me. He's the biggest blessing in my life. He is the most amazing little boy I have ever met. And he's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
Being a mom is also the most difficult, challenging, taxing, exhausting, emotional, and like I don't even know, like journey that I have ever been on. It has made me question myself, my capabilities, my strength, who I am as a person, and like it has given me the highest highs and the lowest lows. And I'm fortunate and blessed and very privileged to have a partner who wants to see all sides of it. And also, this isn't just about parenting. Whatever it is in your life that you struggle with or that is really difficult, I'm not telling you to walk around and complain all the time, because I do think that like there's a lot of positive to be seen in a lot of things, and it helps to come with solutions or helps to come with an idea of how people can support you. But please, please, please always speak up. So like, Ashleigh, you're talking about cereal and it's funny, but also like for you to say that, we know that that's something that we can like talk to you about, or it's a safe space for you to share your feelings about it, or like any struggles that you have with food, you know, and like we know it's something that we can help you with or be there for you, and like you like solidarity, so we can be, you know, like even it's something like, oh my gosh, I just ate an entire pack of Oreos And like, you might be like, okay, well, I'm not the only shitty one who can't control my eating today. You know? But like, if you do not have a group where you feel safe to talk about the struggles that you have, please find it, because it is so important. Again, not only negativity, and if you want help and you want support and you want the situation to be better, you have to be okay talking about it. And Ileana just said toxic positivity is the absolute worst.
You know,
Indeed.
yeah, we
Yeah.
should do something like that in our community group. Like,
Yeah.
we should allow anonymous posting on like a subject title for people to comment if they're open having a conversation with somebody about that if they wanted to. Because like sometimes it's really cool to talk to a stranger, and I like to think that we attract a certain type of person, because like you stuck with us this long, like you're in the club. So like you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just to kind of offer that up, because
I love that
obviously-
idea, because like, I'll say this week, Ashleigh and I had a conversation, because it's been talked a lot about on the podcast. I have not been in a great place lately. I'm struggling in many ways, my health being one of them, but it's really like taken a toll on me. And I've had this huge struggle of like great opportunities or things that I know I'm capable of doing, or that are really exciting to me and seem like once in a lifetime opportunities, but I don't have the capacity to do them. And no matter what kind of motivational or self-help or whatever, like, it just doesn't play out with the reality of life. And like, Ashleigh texted me to say, like, I think that we had, and I hope you're okay with me saying this.
Oh yeah.
But she was like, I think that we have a lot of similarities, like, in that lane. And just having somebody else say, like, I truly understand, because some people say like, oh, I get it, or whatever, you know, that's nice. And I appreciate that people care, but having somebody like meet me where I was at and be like, I think we have a lot of similarities in this vein. I was like, thank God. Like, and you know, it's like, I can talk to you. You understand that I'm not just like shitting on everything. And also like, I'm trying to figure the fuck out.
Yeah. That's the big difference, I think. I noticed once I started being more open to sharing the negatives, the conversations and the quality of the conversations and connections I had drastically shifted.
Yeah.
And the number of people that are like, I'm so glad you said that, or I've never heard anybody speak up about this, like, that's
Yes.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I mean, it's scary. And sometimes you're like, why do I always post about like failing? Like, you know, I'm watching everybody else like under contract, sold, I'm doing this, my business did this, I crushed last year, I'm buying another Airbnb and I'm doing this, and I'm like, well,
I put on real pants today.
yeah, I'm wearing actual clothes and put on makeup, and still my day didn't go the way I wanted it to. And that's, yeah. And that is like the reality of it, is sometimes, you know, we talk about like, well, if you show up every day consistently over time, everything works out. And the other thing I was thinking about was that I'm at 10 years of real estate now. And
Whoa.
what? Crazy.
I hit 10 years next month.
Ooh.
Woo.
That's a big deal. I didn't know that. Actually.
It is a big
Cool.
deal. It's crazy to have, I mean, and my career is a lot different than what I thought it was going to be when I got into real estate, because I just,
Preach.
like most people, had no clue. I was like, I'll come in and I'll sell like 3 houses a year, and that'd be like 20 grand, and that sounds great. So
I'll show a couple
obviously-
houses on House Hunters. And
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, oh, you're going to speak at conferences or do anything that you're doing. So there's a lot of things that I'm so grateful for that have come and happened because of my efforts. But also, my business is not what I want it to be at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it is not some magic easy button where I roll out of bed and at least have like a base, like guaranteed 10 deals a year. Like, if I don't go out and hustle my ass off, I will have a dry pipeline and I'll have nothing closing, and like my business will die if I'm not out there working. And that's, you know, you're like, damn, like I kind of wanted it to be better by now. And it's not. And that is crazy. So it's not, and it's easy to just get frustrated with it and be like, it's a me problem. And it's not. It's just life. It's the ups and downs. And like my career was where I wanted it to be 2 years ago. And now it's not. And it will be again.
You know, that was like such a big takeaway for our big conference, family reunion. My husband went, and I was so, whoa, you both disappeared.
I know, sorry.
The cat unplugged my computer.
Oh my gosh. Like Brett is usually like, I don't want to say guarded, but like he is a great listener and people feel comfortable talking to him. But he came back and told me, I actually told people what I've been going through for the past year, or like, the things weren't super great, or the struggles that I've been having, because I think especially all of us in this space went through this really weird, like, COVID was crazy. The market after COVID was like it was like really hot. Things were really great. We were so burnt out because
You had to work so hard.
You had to work so hard, but there was so much business, and then it died off, and then the fear, and you're like balancing like the reality of the market for us plus like the clients that you're serving, and it's just a lot. And Brett came back from family reunion, and he was like, I actually had, and I said something to him about it, because I was like, what happened? Because I kept getting text messages from people that they were like, oh, I saw your husband. I was like, oh my gosh, great. And they're like, yeah, we had a really great conversation. Like we cried together, like I cried, or blah, blah, blah. And he was like, when people ask me how I am, I actually told them the truth. And he was like, and the conversations that came from that was unreal. And I was like, I am so proud of you, especially as a man.
It's hard to do.
Being open and vulnerable. And like, when you do that, you also provide space for other people to be open and vulnerable. And you create a battle buddy of like, okay, we can get through this together, or we can figure it out. Or you remember to check in on that person a little bit more, or whatever. And so like, probably none of us have the career that we thought that we were going to have. That doesn't mean that we're like unhappy with life. And also, like, it's okay to be real about the fact that like, it's not what I thought it would be. Is it better in a lot of ways? For sure. Yeah. Are there things that I stress about that keep me up at night? Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever outgrow that. You know what? I told Shane, we played like a pool lotto. And I told my husband, I was like, we've got a lot of entries. Like, this is really exciting. And then we won like, I don't know, $6, which you're like, come on. And so I told my husband, I was like, well, we didn't win the lottery. And he's like, I'm pretty sure at this point, God just doesn't want me to be rich. I started laughing. I was like, you know what? Maybe he knows we turn into assholes.
Protection. Oh my gosh, this is so out of left field, but I have to share with you. I can't believe I didn't. I took a quick shower before I came down here to record this. Yay, that's my win. And Diana Kokoska called me while I was in the shower, so I didn't get to talk to her. I didn't get to talk to her, but she left me this sweet voicemail. So
did she say congratulations on your 21st episode?
So she actually, she just had this big event down in Nashville. I was supposed to be there, but again, as I just mentioned, health and other issues, I was not able to attend. And so I was very sad, but she called me to tell me that she missed me being there, and I helped her with some stuff leading up to it. So she was thanking me again for that. And then she was like, I saw that you made a post about some milestone with your podcast. Like, congratulations. Let's talk soon. If I can do anything to help y'all, let me know.
Aww. I love her.
Anyways,
she's our friend.
She is our friend.
Anyways, just thought I would let y'all know.
That's so sweet. Yeah, this has been, I mean, just a wild couple of years of growth, and then 6 months of really talking about it. And then sometimes I think, man, how are we going to keep coming up with like topics? And then we have conversations like this, and I'm like, damn, that could be a whole topic. Like talking, like just that idea of like when somebody says, how are you? And you're like,
yeah,
you know, and that happened for me at the same conference Brett was at. People were like, so how was last year? I'm like, it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Like, same.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing, like his biggest takeaway from that, and I bring it up because I think a lot of people feel this way too, is if you answer with the like, oh, it was good, or oh, I'm focusing on blah, 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 whatever. we all have like this perception that we think people have of us,
Mm.
and then we want to protect it like very strongly, right? And you're afraid that if you show failure, perceived failure, this is so much easier with people watching us. We don't have to say like air quotes. If you show any kind of failure or perceived weakness, that it will alter people's ultimate perception of you, which is just not true. And like, we could do it easily. Like, Ashleigh, if I told you I struggle with something, would that make you think less of me as a person or my capabilities? Your answer would be no. Yet somehow that doesn't calibrate in my brain when I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk about this because people are going to think I suck more than I already do. Like, what? But it's just the reality of like going out on that limb and actually being so courageous to say, like, you know what? Actually, it was really bad. It was really rough. And I struggled a lot. And I'm working on some things, and this is what I hope to accomplish, and this is what I'm getting to. But like, it was hard, and it was hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it will not get better unless you find people who will join forces with you. But here's the thing, and Biz, you know this firsthand. When you don't open up about what's truly going on, you deprive yourself of the opportunity to be loved deeply by people. Because every time that they say something nice about you, in the back of your head, you're going to be like, but if they knew this, they wouldn't feel that way. 2, you deprive that person of the opportunity to love you more and to fill their bucket by building you up.
Brittany says you don't suck. Take it back. Exclamation point.
I love
Yeah.
you.
And I mean, this even goes back to the podcast of there's so many times we have finished episodes and been like, oh, like I didn't do this so well. Like our Diana Kokoska episode, which we were so freaking excited for and we loved every moment of it. The audio for our introduction was perfect when we listened to it on our computers. When it pushed through the feed, it crackled. And you're like, what the F, man? Like, this sucks. Like, and there's no way to fix it. And like, should I, I don't know the right answer. Should I delete it and repost it? I don't know why the audio even did that. Like, so there's so much. I mean, it's just like Katie said, that's motherhood. That's being a friend. Like sometimes you're like, damn, I'm kind of a bad friend. Like I wasn't very good at that. I didn't respond to that well. I wasn't there for that friend. Well, like there's so many capacities that we can beat ourselves up. And then at the end, we look back and go, wow, I've done such a good job growing. But when we're in the process, we don't go and give ourselves that same grace of like, I'm growing.
Yeah.
And on that note, Katie, like when I was in Belize, one of the best like little nuggets of wisdom Diane Griffin bestowed upon me was when I feel uncomfortable about something to not let more than 24 hours go by before I bring it to that person's attention. And that is something that I'm working on. And it's just a continuance of what you're saying with it. Like you have to, because it's kind of like a life hack of podcasting.
I physically cannot, and it's not to be combative. And I sometimes like, I'll pause to like collect my thoughts or whatever, but I get physically uncomfortable if there's something that like is going on with somebody between me and them. Probably because like I either think, oh my gosh, I did something wrong. They think like I need to explain my intention, or like I need to own up to my actions, or I feel really hurt by them and I want to know because I don't want to live with that. Quite honestly, I don't have the energy to like feel negative feelings with people. So like I'd rather have a conversation, and if we're not going to see eye to eye, that's great, but let's try for like 10 minutes and peace out. But like I get physically uncomfortable if I let time go by without talking to somebody about it.
She said that 24 hours for her to reach out, and then they have like an additional 48 to set an appointment. So like she puts it back and is like this, but like makes set an appointment with it. So they know that they're going into the conversation. And I thought that was really, really clever. And so I haven't had / needed the opportunity to bust it out yet, but I've really like sat on that, and I've like made a commitment to myself that I'm going to do it, because
that's good.
Yeah, I like the like give yourself 24 hours though, because there are times like Katie said, like, am I just hungry?
Yeah. Does Katie need a little treat?
Does Biz need a 4-hour nap on Sunday? 4 hours. Golly. That was intense, man. Sleep.
All right. So let's talk about the last 6 months, right? We've talked a lot about the podcast. What would you all say? How have you grown? And like, what's the thing you're most impressed with that you've like, what are you most proud of yourself in the last 6 months?
We
We celebrated everybody else's wins. So like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I am proud of my peace of mind.
yes, I love that. You've worked hard for that.
Oh yeah.
Girl,
You have been
I'm
working
working
hard on
hard
that.
for it now. Yeah. But like old Biz would be freaking the fuck out a lot more, aka period. And I'm not. I feel very empowered. And I feel like I wake up every day and I choose how I'm showing up with it. And that's a great feeling. So
I love that.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. That's where I'm at right now. And what I'm working towards is sustainability. And I'm not being scared of tracking things because I really like the big part of leaning in is like you can't improve it, like you got to measure it. Like you have to measure it. And so I'm having lots of real conversations with a lot of measuring. And
Measuring
stuff.
can be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it makes me like really, so it's like a completely different way of doing things. Like I've always just like shifted very quickly and then just run as hard as I need to make it work. And then I'm like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. And like, instead of just doing that better, I like shift gears to do something else. And I really am getting intentional about honing in on stuff. And it's not scary. So I'm really proud of myself for that.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So yeah. Get your turn, Ashleigh.
Oh, so honestly, the last 6 months, I've heard no more times than I've probably heard in like the last 10 years. And man, that gets hard. I mean, like, you know, it's gotten to the point sometimes, like literally this morning, I opened up my email to 2 more no's. And you're like, you know, and like I would say before opening up and that being like the first thing, because I check my emails at 4:30 in the morning because I'm sick and can't help myself. And so I check that email and I see that and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're going to the gym right now. Let's hop over to Instagram because surely that will cheer me up. And I'm getting hit with hate comments and you're like, well, we're gonna close Instagram and like so it's just been a lot. It's been a lot, man. I mean, I've 7 times my Instagram followers, and that comes at a cost mentally.
That's
And
incredible.
It's hard. I actually deleted a video going viral because I was like, I know myself enough at this point to say I will not tolerate the comments that are going to come in from this. And it was at 617,000 views, and I deleted it. And it was definitely going to hit 1 million, and I was like, nope. Gone.
Which video?
It was the library one.
Oh.
Yeah, those book people were fucking crazy. So, yeah, so I took it down and like I'm just really intensely proud of how much more naturally protecting my mental health around that is coming now and how much more comfortable I am with hearing no and still doing what needs to happen that day and not just like wallowing over it.
I really love that you made the group and that you shared those things vulnerably because it's like you holding yourself accountable to like getting better because there's like as we talk about real estate and all the opportunities and everything, like opportunities are out there everywhere. It's just about where you're throwing your energy and like you're still using those, leaning into that experience that you're gaining and sharing it with other people.
Yeah.
And that is encouraging. So
I'm glad
Thanks.
it is.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
I'm really proud of you. That's a lot of perseverance
Thank you.
and a lot of like, you know, we talk a lot about how you're an idea person. And so for you to hear no is really hard because it's like it's very personal, it feels like, of people not liking your ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're still cranking out the ideas and you're
Still
still
cranking
going.
out.
And I love that.
Yeah. Thanks. What about you, Katie?
And we're you know, I asked the question and I didn't have an answer. Like in this moment, honestly, it's like surviving, being really real. I know that there's probably like a lot to be really proud of, but I'm in a really, really, really difficult bit of life.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's hard. I'll say I do have a lot of business things I'm proud of. I'm struggling big time. But yesterday my kid woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and when I went in his room, he cheered and yelled yay and clapped and was so excited to see me. And I obviously like have emotions in front of him, but I'm really proud of the fact that like I can go through what's happening right now and still prioritize him. And I'm really proud of the fact that like that hasn't bled over and he knows more than anything that he's loved.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you showing love and prioritizing that and giving yourself permission to like, this is hard and I'm experiencing this and I am still permitted to experience and feel it. But I can also set those aside to go bowling and enjoy the time and give myself permission to not like beat myself up and sit there in the hard experience and instead just set it down off your shoulders for just a little bit. That's huge.
Yeah, like loving him is supernatural. That's obvious, but like it is a really intentional choice to not let everything overshadow or just focus on like how worn down I am, you know? And so I'm really proud of that. He's really excited to see me all the time. And I'm really proud that I can show up for him like that.
Yeah. Did you ever figure out what his joke was that he was telling himself in the car?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, but he thought it was really funny.
I think that is such a test. Like every time I know this is like, I don't see, obviously he's a toddler. He has his meltdowns, his times. He's a kid that's energetic and kids that age are hard.
Yeah.
But every time I'm like, he's in the background when you're dropping me like voicemails or voice memos or we're on the phone and he's in the back of Katie's car, just like, and like, and just like making all those cute toddler sounds. And like, I just think it's a real testament to the environment he must be in with you and Brett.
Well, thank you. Thanks for that. I'm very like aware of the fact that there's a limited and finite amount of time where I can somewhat control the environment he's exposed to. And man, oh man, am I going to make sure that he understands first and foremost that like he is loved for him and we are safe. And that is the foundation of his life.
Yeah.
You know, if nothing else, he has that.
Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's probably like, I mean, I have a lot of stuff, you know, that I am proud of, like a lot of opportunities that have come my way. But that's probably like the biggest, you know, I have a lot of, there's a lot about parenthood that I'm really intentional and that I have big goals around and stuff. And so it feels really good when he's excited to see me.
Hell yeah.
So yeah,
That's crazy.
That was a good
been
cry.
a wild 6 months. And it's like, it makes me think of the, you know, people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5. because we're taking a look back at 6 months. And I'm like, okay, so now in another 6 months, do we look back 1 year and then amplify that 5 times? That's
Yes.
a crazy thought. Which would mean I would have an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, you have fun with that. I'm so glad you're ahead of us on this journey. Like,
For
I
real.
really am. So
For real.
grateful. And we have great parents. Like our friends make great parents. Like I'm so grateful. There's a lot of them.
I love Kristen Carter has some ahead of me. And so
Yeah.
whenever she talks about parenting, I'm like, more information, please.
Oh my gosh. Everything that she says about parenting, her home life, her relationship with her husband, and how they display that in front of their kid. I'm like, let me get a notebook, because this is like literally the freedom that her children have, like their conversations together and the environment she creates at home. And like, gosh, she is like that is the environment I want my child or future children to have. And thank you, Kristen, for being like so open about it, because like, and living that so loudly, because man, oh man, A, it's an incredible goal, and B, it also gives me hope that like we'll survive this. Ileana just said Kristen should adopt me. Same.
That's what, like, I love talking to older women, like in general. Like, I don't give a fuck what we're talking about. Like, I just love talking to them because it just gives me so much strength.
Yeah.
It inspires me. And like, it's man. And then it's also kind of like realizing like I'm not special. It sucks for everyone.
No, Biz. No, it's the crown upon your head. Get it right.
Okay. I don't want it.
Heavy is the crown.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So this has been great. Do we have any other final thoughts? We're at an hour and a half, and y'all are troopers hanging in there with us.
Really
I know. Next time we do this at 42 episodes or whenever, make sure I log in the admin account so I can see who's watching. But it's really perfect because it's just like the podcast. Like I can't even think about the fact that there are people there. Like it probably would have psyched me out. So it's probably good.
Next time we'll do Zoom. So wait, I have two thoughts. Oh. This is also always how it goes at the end of episodes. We like wrap up, we're doing the outro, and I'm like, wait, I missed it. Biz, I wanted to point out to you, you always talk about how you want to let somebody know that you're thinking of them without opening a conversation because you don't have time for it. And I got the most perfect example tonight. And so I know I've told you what I say to people, but Harjot texted me tonight and said, "Hi, love you. You're amazing. Have a good night." That's it. That was the whole text.
Okay, I'm gonna copy it so that I'm still doing it. Like I'm still sending them out.
No, I know, but I'm saying like
figure it out.
That I will respond to it, and also like I don't feel like that was. I mean, if I responded and a conversation happened, great. But like I can tell she sent that with the intention of me receiving it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so. Just like she sent that and I was like, "Oh, this is what Biz is talking about."
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
For that.
Yeah. Second thing, I've been thinking like all day about some little toast that we could do with our beverages to like toast to the podcast.
My rum's gone.
Oh, well, toast with your hand. I can't think of anything because my brain is dead and I'll start crying again. But on Love is Blind, I think it's Clay is super, super obsessed with this toast that like I hate to take from him, but it is actually exactly what we are. And it's, I'm not above you. Raise your glass. I'm not above you. I'm not below you. I'm right here with you. And I'll continue to be right here.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us for our We're Your Friends Now is legal episode 21.
We're legal.
We made it. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget to rate us, subscribe us, subscribe to us, review us so other people can find us.
Please don't subscribe us.
Yeah,
to things.
please don't subscribe us to anything further. And we love you guys. We will see you
love
next
you.
week.
Yay, bye.